Okay, so we're going to start with that sort of figure of 8 on all fours cat stretch. So what we're going to start with first of all is just sticking the butt out to one side, tucking it under and rolling from side to side, sticking it out from side to side, and then tucking it under from side to side. So that's all you're really thinking about to begin with. How can I move my pelvis? Side to side, you're sticking it out and you're tucking it under. So it's curving, arching, and side bending. That's it. And you want to feel it as round and as smooth as possible. Almost feel like the back of the pelvis is made out of 2 bones rather than one solid bone. That's it. And as you're breathing and continuing to do this, start to then feel how your knees are going from one side through the center to the other. You kind of pull back off the knees over to the side. You go forward onto the knees over to one side. So you're circling through the knees, circling through the shins. And then you feel the movement through the ankles too. So the feet are going over to one side. You're pulling back a little bit over to the other. They pull forward. So all the bones like rolling surfaces. That's it. And then taking the mind up and just noticing how you can move through the spine too. So what's going on with the middle spine, the upper spine? Let that wriggle away too. And the shoulder blades, a bit like the pelvis. That's it. And then you're going to change direction but keep the same idea. So circling the pelvis, moving through the spine, feeling the shoulder blades moving, side to side, up and down. And then feel through your hands. You've got more weight on one side, then more weight through the wrists. At the back, then you kind of go forward onto the wrists, moving through the elbows, and then the head as well. And just keep the breath nice and easy. So now just feel that movement all through the body. And if you want to change directions again, you can. Keep the breath nice and slow. So you can choose to go fast or slow here. What feels good in your body to do? Just trying to get to every bony landmark in the body. And then changing directions again. Good. And you can see with Hannah, you can really circle the head if that feels safe to do, if it feels good to do. So it's just responding to what's happening through the pelvis. And then gently coming back into neutral. You're going to tuck the toes under, sit back on the heels. That's it. And just, if you're flexy enough, you can be seated here. If it's too intense, just have your weight forward on your hands. So breathing here for a few breaths, then you tip forward, tuck the toes under, and then sit on the front of the feet. Again, if it's too intense, just lean forward. If you're really flexy and you want to open more through your ankles, you can scoop through the belly in a bit of a curve, get a stretch through the tops of the ankles and into the shins. We're just going to repeat that. So you come forward, tuck the toes, sit back on the heels. Good. So what you're doing here is opening the back line. So remember, all the tissues through the soles of the feet connect through the back of the leg, all the way through the spine. When you come this way, you're stretching through the front of the body. Front of the ankles really reflects what's happening through the front of your hips, okay? So if you tighten your quads, you're probably going to be tight through the tops of your feet. One more time. So forward, stretching through, that's it. So really opening up through the big toe joint here. And then coming forward. That's it, sitting down. And just make sure you don't force this. Do what feels good. And then release. Coming up onto all fours, we're going to step one leg forward and then take the foot a little wider and put the hands on the inside. That's it. Keeping the back knee down, we're just going to roll onto the outside of the front foot. That's it. And then you're going to roll back and kind of go around this way a little bit. Good. So we're just teasing open the inner thighs, the front of the hip, and around the glute. So think about the thigh bone and the hip socket. So we're trying to roll it open through the front here, releasing the tissue. Then we're rolling it inward. It gets a bit more inner thigh here. It's because this is releasey. Keep the breath calm and slow. Try not to race. Remember to connect into what you're trying to achieve. And in order to make space, somewhere's got to let go. You can't force through it. Good, then gently coming back into neutral. You're going to take the same arm as leg that's forward. You're going to take it forward and circle it back. Good, we're going to breathe in as the arm comes forward. And exhale, turn the chest, yawn the body open. You don't have to worry too much about alignment here. Just do what feels good. So where do I want to stretch into? Where do I want to take my head? Do I want to drop more into the pelvis, or I want to lift off the pelvis? Good. One more, breathe in. Exhale and hold this twist and just reach wherever feels good again. Hand presses into the floor and then gently come away from it. I'm going to tuck the back toes under, stretch through the back leg. That's it, sorry, through the front leg. And pull back. Good. So this can be quite intense for people. So what you could do as an alternative is lift up the back leg and straighten the front leg. That's it, and just breathe into it. So what you're trying to do is get a hamstring stretched here through the front leg. Good, and then gently come forward. Take the front leg back and we'll switch over to the other side. That's it, so the foot goes slightly wider, hands are on the inside. Then you're going to roll onto the outside of the foot. That's it. And then gently roll onto the inside of the foot. Feel the inner thighs moving away from each other. Roll onto the outside. Use your breath. Stay calm and slow. Tune into what feels good. So rolling inward, putting more weight on the outside arm. Then rolling in, dropping onto the outside of the ankle. Breathing into it. If this side feels tighter, spend a little bit more time on it. If it feels easier than the other side, just come out of it and have a rest. You never want to stretch both sides evenly, remember. Good, then coming back into center, you're going to take the top arm forward, breathe in. Exhale, circle up and around. It's the same thing here. If this side feels easier, do fewer reps. Exhale to open. Breathe in to come forward. Exhale, open through the chest. Good. And then the last one, you're going to hold into a rotation. Spiral the arms into the shoulder sockets. Stand the hand on the floor and reach away from it, lifting up. And then gently come out of it. Good. And then we're going to push back into the hamstring stretch. So you can keep that back foot down, or you can straighten the back leg up and come into the stretch that way. Just breathe into it again. Release the neck, relax the jaw. That's it. So you're cat curving the spine in this stretch. Good, one more deep breath in and out. Good, then gently coming forward out of it. Feet together, knees apart, sitting back in child pose. And releasing into it. So feeling the weight through the back of the pelvis. Depending on what's going on with your body, you can have your arms beside your hips with your palms up. You can stretch them out like Hannah's got them. You can bend them and put the hands underneath the forehead. Now be here, calmly breathing. So kind of surrender into the front of the hips. It's really easy to be grabby here. Can you let go through your hips? You let go through the pelvis. Use your breath to soften and deepen a little bit more. And then really slowly you'll drag yourself back up to sitting with your chin towards your chest. Keep the chin in towards the chest. And then bring yourself up to sitting. Good. And if we turn to face forward, we're going to sit cross-legged. Now, if it's uncomfy to sit cross-legged, just put yourself up on some blocks. We're going to do a side stretch, so both hands are out to the side. It's really easy again here to kind of get quite hyper and stick the butt out, stick the chest out. Keep the weight back into the bum. I'm going to lift one arm up to the ceiling, take a breath in, exhale and come up and over into a side stretch. Now keep your hip rooting down of the side that you're stretching. Try not to let that bum lift up. That's it, and just breathe into this. If it's the right side, most people tend to be tight here and they tend to go into a bit of flexion. So keep the chest opening up towards the ceiling. That hand on the floor, keep pressing it into the floor, but feel everything else internally pulling back in towards your center. So you're not collapsing through that left side, you're working through the left side. Press through the hand on the floor, draw the belly in and up, come all the way up and over to the other side. Breathing, exhaling, shoulders stay dropping down, spiral the arm into the shoulder socket. Good, and then keeping the weight back on the back of the pelvis, not bursting the chest out. And then just turning the breastbone towards the ceiling. Keep that hand working into the floor so everything else is pulling back in towards the body. Breathing in. And then exhaling, pushing through the hand on the floor, coming up. We're going to go over to the first side again. And then we're going to go into a flexion here. So you're going to turn and put your other hand back on the floor. You might want to make your first hand move. That's it. It's almost like you're in a cat position here. Press through the hands, curve through the spine, relax the back of the neck. So you're twisting and curving that upper thoracic. So really breathe into that side that you're stretching more into. Use your exhale to soften and deepen into it a little bit more. Keep the hands on the floor active, so it's not a collapse. You've still got the belly drawing in and up. That's it. And then gently come back to the side stretch. Press through the hand, lift up, and over to the other side. Shoulders dropping down, and then turning. That's it. Keeping the hips facing forward, just the upper body in a cat shape, twisted around. And now breathe into that side that you're feeling more of a stretch on. Open the shoulder blades away from each other. Relax the eyes, relax the jaw, release. Again, if this side feels easier, come out of it now. If it's more difficult, stay a little longer. And then gently press through the hand, come all the way up and open. And then just roll through the shoulders. Good. Okay, then we're going to come and lie down on the back. And just gently, one leg at a time, hug the legs in towards your chest. If you're flexy, make the knees come more towards the armpits, just so the thigh bone has space. And just breathing here and gently rolling side to side, so softening through the eyes. Feeling the weight of the back of the pelvis, widening the back of the pelvis. And then coming to bend the knees. Put the feet flat on the floor. We're going to come up into the pelvic lifts with the arms coming up over the head. So nice and juicy this, less about being super stable, it's more about mobilizing the spine and enjoying the space in the body. So we're going to take a big belly breath in, and as you exhale, just tuck the tail under. Good. Then we're going to breathe in and roll back to neutral, even past neutral, arch the lower back. We'll do a few of these to begin with. Exhale, you're tucking under, lower back flattens into the floor. Breathing in, big belly, arch through the back, mobilize the pelvis. Breathing out. So just feel the potential for movement through the pelvis. And then as you're doing it, start to feel how that is felt through the whole body. So as you're tucking, there's flexion through the whole middle spine as well. As you're arching, you'll feel the change that happens through the head and through the upper back. Just let that movement happen. So you're integrating through the spine. A couple more. So exhaling to tuck under, inhaling to ripple that extension through the whole body. That's it. Now exhale to tuck. Now you'll hold it here in just a gentle lateral breath. And as you exhale, you're going to continue to sequentially lift the spine away from the floor. That's it. And then we're going to float the arms up and backwards and just hold them here. Now do what feels good. You could keep the back ribs on the floor if you know you need to be more in flexion in the upper back, or if it feels really good to open up through the hips, then push through the feet, work the back of the legs and open the front of the body. Breathe wide. Exhale, pressing through the feet. Even if your back ribs are on the floor, you can still connect through the back of the legs. Keeping the arms back there, you're going to breathe in. Exhale, bring the spine down, keeping the arms back to really open up the thoracic. Vertebra at a time, they come down. We're going to keep the arms back again. Breathe in. Exhale, tuck the tail under and slowly peel up through the spine. Now again, just what feels good in your body. If you want, you could interlock the fingers and stretch the arms away and just open up through that upper back. Remember to just keep gently pushing through the feet so you've got the back of the legs supporting the opening of the spine. Good. And then releasing the press through the hands and gently melting the spine back down. Good. And then letting the arms come all the way back. Good. And stretching the legs out one at a time. Good. Softly closing the eyes. And just take a little body scan. Letting the body calm down again. And then all you're going to do is tiny, tiny movements of the head from side to side. So you're just gently rolling through the back of the head. Now, stay in a range that feels good. If you go too far and you feel like muscles have to work too hard to bring you back, keep the range tiny. Could be a millimeter side to side. So really just feel the temples relaxing and the face sort of dripping back. Just rolling the head from side to side. And then start to sense that movement all the way down internally through your spine. So nothing's moving, but just sense the awareness that your spine has, that the head is moving from side to side. So get a little bit of freedom into that cerebral spinal fluid around the brain and all the way down through the central nervous system. So pelvis is soft and relaxed. And then just let the head come back into center. Gently flexing the feet and then pointing the feet and kind of circling the ankles a little bit. So just feeling the bones of the thighs roll open and roll in, and then you can reverse it. Good, and then just gently coming back into center and settling back into your nice, calm breath pattern again. So you could do a little bit of belly breathing for 5 or so breaths, and then just let the breath go and let your mind travel inward. So spend another 5 minutes or so here by yourselves, just calmly settling back into the body.